Hello my friends, it's the GameBoyGeek here. Today we're going to be honking our horns, yelling at people to get out of the way, running red lights maybe, being in congestion. We are in the hot, heavy Manhattan traffic. This is a tile laying game for 2 to 4 players. It takes about 30 minutes to play. It's from a smaller publisher out in Europe. This is going to be an Essen release. It's got some area control with tile laying. Let's take a look. At the beginning of Manhattan Traffic, everyone starts with a certain amount of trucks, which are these bigger ones, and taxis. In this 3-player game, you get 2 trucks and 5 taxis. You also get 2 random tiles off the top of the stack that you can place later. Here's the starting city that shows you how to get set up. You just match the numbers up, and we have different grids and different areas of town denoted by those different colors. For example, the red and the yellow, and the parks, and the lakes, and things like that. Now on your turn, you get 4 actions. Now, some of them are labeled 1, and this means that if you take this action, it has to be done first. Now, it does look like it's in a different language, but it also says here, attach. It's basically saying you're placing a tile. The reason why there's 2 of them is that you could use this for both your turns. You could say, I'm gonna attach or place 2 tiles, and you would take your tiles and you would place them. So let's say for my first tile, I put this one here, and this can go here because the parks match the parks. For example, I couldn't put it like this, because this red does not match the green, the green there. So I could place my first tile there, and let's say for my second action I place a second tile. Let's say I place this one here. Now notice this is legal because it's red and all this is the yellow stuff. Now, as soon as you place a tile that completes a 4 tiles there, you can take any one of your cars, either the truck or the taxi, and you put it right in the intersection of those 4 tiles. I'm placing it like this so it's easier to see, and you would place that. That would be the end of my turn. It would be somebody else's turn. Now my turn, I took both of my actions for placing tiles. You could draw tiles. Let's say you don't have anything you like. You could draw, and you can do that twice. This is the same action, but if you draw, you have to do it last. It has to be the last action you take, or if you do it twice, basically that's all you're doing in your turn, is you're drawing 2 tiles. And essentially you just draw 2 random off the top. So let's say it's the red player's turn. Let's say it's a few turns in now, and the city has started to grow a little bit. And let's say the red player plays one there for his first action and plays one for his second action. Because he made a grid of 4, let's say he places this here. Now, anytime you place any car, you look on the 2 streets that your car intersects with, and you see if you can bump anybody off. Now, every truck is worth 2 points, and every taxi is worth 1. Now in this case, red only has 1 point because they have a taxi. Blue has 2 points because he has a truck. Because red was the attacker or active player this round, he does not bump him off because he has less points, but he does not himself get bumped off because he was the active player. Now, if he was already there, and let's just say, for example, this tile just came in, and this player placed, he would put this here. The truck is the active player. He beats the red player, and the red player would go off, and it would go back in his hand. Now let's say the board looked like this, and the blue player played this and put his truck here. Now because this is worth 2 points, and these 2 guys have taxis which are worth 1 point, because he put them here, both of these guys are gone because they both only have 1 point. Now, if they were on here, and instead of this, the yellow player had his truck, well, he ties, so he wouldn't get knocked off, but the red player would. So you've seen the attached tiles, you've seen the draw tiles. Let's talk about the other 2 actions. One of them is a taxi ride, one of them is a truck ride. Now the truck can move 1 spot, the taxi can move as many as he wants with a few rules. In this case, if I was a blue player, I could use the truck delivery, the truck move, and he only gets to move 1 spot. And at this point, when he stops, he now checks. Anytime you move or place a vehicle, you check to see if you can beat anything. In this case, yes, the truck beats the taxi, and he would go off, and I would still have an action left. Now let's say I had, in this case, a taxi here, and I was the blue player, and I want to do a taxi action. The taxi can move as many spaces as he wants, as long as it's not illegal. For example, he can't go off the board, he can't go through other cars. If there was a car here, the taxi couldn't go through there. and he has to basically, he could go from here all the way up, up to here, for example, if he wanted to. So the taxi can move as many as he wants as long as he doesn't hit anything and he's on a valid road. Now these end roads here at the bottom are not valid roads. You can't essentially be driving on these. You have to wait till a road is finished to drive on them. That's essentially it. I mean, you're putting tiles in, you're moving trucks or taxis around, you're drawing tiles. You're doing this till one of two things happens. Either someone places their last vehicle on the board, they automatically win immediately. Or if no one has won that way, when the last tile is drawn, everybody else gets one more round, obviously without drawing tiles, and whoever has the most points on the board is the winner, and the points are counted as 2 points for every truck and 1 point for every taxi. Now this was the basic setup. There's also an advanced setup. Essentially all these action tiles flip over and they become some of the starting tiles for the advanced setup. Also the normal starting tiles flip over and those go with the other tiles I just flipped over to make a larger starting area. And so this is what the advanced side looks like to start with. There's more tiles, it's a little bit larger, and you just put them in, you just basically match the letters on the tiles to each side, and that's how you play Manhattan Traffiq. All right, there is Manhattan Traffiq. I was interested in this game because I love tile laying games. I am a sucker for tile laying games, and the whole traffic idea is cool, and the idea of bumping people off was cool. I gotta say, unfortunately, it didn't live up to what I hoped it was going to be. It's not a bad game, but it's not a great game either. It's sort of average game for me. What we found is, as you're playing this, and you're laying the tiles and such, it sort of falls into these sort of patterns that, the big thing is being able to place that fourth one, because when you place the fourth one, you're placing a car. When you place a car, obviously that's one step closer to victory, right? And so what happens is, like, people are drawing tiles, and nobody wants to put that third one there. They want to draw tiles so they can place 2 on their turn to then get that. So we found a lot of times that most people were just waiting to draw 2 tiles so they can place 2 tiles to place a car there. Now, also what we found is that it didn't seem as free. It felt a lot more restrictive. Those move truck and move taxis, they didn't seem to happen nearly as much as I had hoped they were going to be happening. Of, hey, I'm going to set this up here, I'm going to drive this guy over here, I'm going to maybe surprise you. It doesn't really happen because as you're putting cars on, you're slamming them down there, and there's only so many of those spaces where 4 of them fit together by the time the city gets expanded. For most of the game, the city's still kind of small, and you can't drive on those half roads, and it just seems like the city didn't expand fast enough, so there wasn't enough moving around because everyone's sort of clumped together, because when you move, you can't move past somebody. And you can't move through, non-roads, and you can't move through the half roads. So the movement felt quite restrictive. So it was really came down a lot of times as people just putting that 4th tile and laying a guy. And once in a while, you'd be enough tiles where someone could actually move and then bump somebody off. But for the most part, most of the stuff happened when someone placed a tile and put a thing and then bumped people off. So I was hoping there's gonna be more movement, more strategy, more freedom to move your guys around, to set up moves for yourself, maybe think ahead a few turns. But this just felt more like I'm just gonna be drawing tiles, placing 2 of them, putting a guy, and then maybe doing another one, and that might bump you up. But I wish there was just a little bit more movement in the game, and this, unfortunately, is why it's just an average for me. But if you like tile laying games and you like moving cars around, this might be for you. Also, the quality of the tiles, they have some pink spotches on the artwork side of the cards. I'm not sure if that was a defect or if I just got a defect of some tiles, but they were wearing out quite quickly. Also, the components, you can only be red and blue if you're playing a 2-player game. In a 3-player game, you have to add yellow, and only in a 4-player game can you be green. They limited the quantities. If you play a 2-player game, you can't play green, and I'm sure they're trying to save money, but for me, that was cutting some corners there. So all in all, not what I hoped it would be. Not a bad game, just different from what I had expected. It still might be one for you. Now, just below in the description, I've never had this happen before, but a publisher said, hey, I'll give you a coupon code to your viewers. If they want to buy this from our store, you can get €5 off. So in the description of this video down below, there's a link and a code. If this thing you think it's for you, go ahead and you'll get $5 off there. That's Manhattan Traffiq. And together, let's spread our love of board games and then through board games.